Okay, let's talk about slope. When you get into algebra in high school, this is going to be one of the number one topics you go over. And the concept really isn't that bad. All right, let's talk about it a little bit. All right, slope is what? It refers to the steepness of a line. You hear, snowboarders and skiers, we're talking about going to the slopes, right? Mountain climbers talk about the slope in certain areas where they have to climb, right? It refers to how steep something is, right? So a line like this, that's pretty steep, right? That's a pretty steep line. If you're going to climb that or even you're going to slide down it or ski down it, that's pretty, you get some serious speed or it would take you a lot of energy to climb that thing. This one, not as much, right? A little less energy, right? A lot of snow recently. That one, you wouldn't get as much speed if you slide down that one as you would on the first one, right? The third one here, even less steep than that, right? That'd be like a slow incline, a slow hill. Like it doesn't seem like much, but until you're walking up it, right? And then you have this one right here, which is really a horizontal line, right? So when you're looking at this, that first one on the left, that's the one with the greatest slope because that's the steepest, right? And the one in the last one, that's the one with the smallest slope. In fact, that horizontal line, that has no slope at all. We actually call that a zero slope. All right. So anyway, remember, slope simply refers to steepness. That's it. Okay. And we measure it in a certain way. How do we do that? It's actually a ratio or a fraction. All right. And what that ratio or fraction is a couple of things. You're going to hear this a lot. It's called rise over run. Well, what does that mean? Well, rise, that means how much when something rises, it goes up, doesn't it? Or it could go down if it falls, right? And if you're running across usually, right? You're running on a horizontal surface, right? So this is a picture you want to think of. The rise is the up and down movement, and the run is the left and right movement. Or as you want to see it here, it's the vertical movement, that's up and down, over the horizontal movement. That is the key. You got to have the vertical on top and you got to have the horizontal on the bottom or in the denominator. All right. When you want to get more fancy into actual math words, we can say delta y over delta x. Yeah, that triangle is actually a Greek letter called delta. And that just means something's changing. So how much is y changing over how much is x changing, right? Because remember, y is your vertical, right? That's your vertical axis, and x is your horizontal axis, right? All right, so that is the key. And remember, when we're moving up and down, we have positives and negatives to deal with, right? So this is what you want to remember is when you're moving up, right? That's moving up vertically. That is positive movement, right? That's the key. It's positive. Well, what's the opposite of positive? Well, if I go now, look at me moving down vertically. That is considered negative movement, and we're going to indicate that with the negative sign. All right. Similarly, if we move horizontally, let's talk about horizontally to the right, right? We're moving in a positive direction. You guys know this. When you're moving on a number line, you go to the right, things are getting bigger. That's moving right horizontally. That is positive movement if I'm moving to the right. So that's why we're going to indicate that with a plus. And if I'm going left, again, it's getting smaller, right? That's moving left horizontally. That is negative movement, and I'm going to indicate that with a negative sign. All right? That's basically the idea. It's really logical when you think about it, right? But really, slope is just that. Rise over run, vertical movement over horizontal movement. Let's take a little practice at this and get a little comfortable with this vocab and understanding. Here we go.